Welcome to the Candle Business Coach Podcast, a show about the craft of candle making and small business. I'm your host, Kirsty Allen, and I'm a candle maker, mum of three, and kindness advocator. Join me as I dive into all things candles and small business and deliver advice and tips to you in episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Are you on the list to get my daily motivation emails? Every day I'll send you a message that is designed to help keep you focused on taking action toward your goals. Sign up using the link in the show notes. This episode is brought to you by my free ebook, the Candle Business Marketing Kickstarter Kit. Inside this free ebook, you'll find your blocks of time and learn actionable tips so you can grow your business faster and earn more income to lead you to your goals. Check out the link in the show notes for your copy. Welcome back to the podcast, my friend. In today's episode, I'm sharing 8 common candle business questions and answers to, of course, with the aim of clarifying and overcoming some familiar issues with your candle business. These are just a short list of questions I'm regularly asked about, so I wanted to record an episode and share my thoughts and answers with you all. Question number 1. Should I rename the scents for my candles or keep the same name as the fragrance as it's listed on the bottle from the supplier? So this is a really great question, and it's an interesting way to differentiate yourself from your competitors. So for example, there are different types of vanilla candles, vanilla fragrance oils. So you could simply call your candle a vanilla candle, but then the customer may not know which vanilla candle to buy if they've got two in front of them from two different stores. So what I recommend you do, and it does come down to personal preference, personal choice, is to rename the scent into a different name, but it still needs to be descriptive of what the actual scent is. So you want to make sure that when you're doing your names for your candles that you're taking into consideration SEO or search engine optimization, and also your tags in case people are doing a keyword search for the fragrance that they're looking for. Another way you can do it is to rename the candle on the label, but have the fragrance type underneath the name. So say, for example, you've got vanilla, caramel, and coffee mixed together. You could call that simply morning brew or coffee mornings or something like that. But then on the label underneath, you'd want to list caramel, vanilla, and coffee to make sure that the customer knows which fragrance it actually relates to. So question number 2 is, which is the best wax to use? There are so many different types of wax options out there. There's 100% soy, coconut soy with paraffin, 100% paraffin wax, beeswax. There's so many different options when it comes to the types of wax you can choose for your candle business. And honestly, it comes down to personal preference, but also what qualities your ideal customer prefers. So this is why it's really important to know and to niche down to find your ideal customer or your ideal client, so you know what sort of wax types they're wanting. And if they don't know what wax types that they are after, then they might want a particular quality of a candle, such as a vegan candle or one that's got the strongest scent through. So really it depends on what the customer wants, but also what you prefer working with as well. So each wax comes with its own pros and cons in terms of how to make the candles and the possible issues you may need to troubleshoot along the way. So you will need to do your research, try a few different wax to see which one you prefer working with, but also keep your ideal customer in mind. Question number 3, how do I work out the wax and fragrance oil amounts per candle, or if I'm making them in a batch? So if you Google wax and fragrance oil calculation for candles, you'll find that there are lots of different calculators out there and lots of different equations you can use to try and figure out how much wax and how much fragrance oil to use when you're making your candles. The easiest way that I've found is to download an app called CandlePal, CandlePal. You can find it both on Apple devices and Android in the Play Store. It's really great because you can easily calculate the amount of wax and fragrance oil needed to make your candles for either a single candle or a batch of candles, and they also have a burn time calculator so you can figure out how long a candle with a certain weight can burn. So I've got the app in front of me and I just want to run through quickly how to use it. So when you open the app, you want to choose calculate, and then you can choose your unit of measurement. So you can choose grams or ounces. So say you want to go with grams, which is what I'd recommend doing because it is a little bit easier, especially if you're from Australia. We have the metric system. So the wax fill weight, let's say you've got a jar that can hold 300 grams of wax and in the actual jar. And the fragrance ratio, let's say you want to go with 8 and you're making one vessel or one candle. You go calculate and very quickly it shows you that the wax amount that you need to use is 277 grams and the fragrance oil is 22 grams. Now I've just rounded them off just for simplicity's sake, but it means that you can easily work out per candle or per batch how much wax to use and how much fragrance oil to use without having any wastage, which will save you time and money, especially over the long term. The fourth question is, how many candles should I make to sell when I'm first starting out? So as with most things to do with your candle business, it does come down to personal preference, but also knowing your ideal customer. So that said, it's a general rule of thumb to start out with about 3 to 5 different scents and make each scent in 1 or 2 sizes. I know it's really tempting to make all the different fragrance options out there and to offer multiple sizes, but keep it simple when you're first starting out. Then when you know which scents are most popular, you can batch make more of those scents rather than having lots of stock in scents that customers aren't purchasing sitting on your shelf. So as I said, start off with 3 to 5 scents and make each scent in 1 or 2 sizes. When you start your candle business, there are so many things to consider and research along the way, especially when it comes to choosing the right suppliers. Long Story Short provides all your design and printing needs, from your logo and branding to designing and printing your product labels. The quality is exceptional, the customer service is amazing, and prices are very reasonable. They're the only label company I recommend, so check out their website or send them an email today to get started. hello@longstoryshortdesign.com.au. Number 5, which is the best platform to host your website? So there are several options you can choose from, including but not limited to Shopify, Square, Wix, and GoDaddy, for example. You can also sell your products on Etsy, but for the sake of this, I just want to go through the e-commerce platforms where you'll actually be uploading your products and creating your own website. So you'll need to research which e-commerce platforms contain the features that you're looking for and compare the different associated costs. So my recommendation is Shopify, and that's the platform that I use for my candle business, as it's fairly straightforward to set up the website. The price per month or per year is comparable to the other options, and there are a heap of apps that you can connect to your shop to make the customer or user experience unique yet functional. So yeah, as I said, my recommendation is Shopify, but look into the other options and know that there are several comparison websites that show you the pros and cons of the different platforms. And I know that many of them do actually have a free trial where you can go in and practice setting up your website, add in some products, for example, to see if you like the features before you have to invest any money in those platforms. So have a look, see what ones stand out to you, and then go with that. Number 6, where can you sell your candles and products other than on your own website? So as I mentioned, you can also sell your products on Etsy, but you can also go to the markets and sell via wholesale. So you can approach stores, retail shops, yoga studios, for example, but there's also Facebook Marketplace as well. So again, you need to work out where your ideal customer is most likely going to shop and aim at stocking your candles in those places. Now, I will mention I've got 2 ebooks that are coming very soon. I've got the Candle Makers Market Guide and a guide to wholesaling for candle businesses. So both of these ebooks will be available sometime in January. So send me a DM on Instagram at Candle Business Coach if you're interested in hearing when they'll become available. Otherwise, when they are available, I'll add the links to the show notes of this episode. So the Candle Makers Market Guide will give you everything you need to know to set up your market stall, everything you need to prepare and organize, a checklist, and there'll also be a countdown as well, a 2-month countdown, so you can split all your tasks across the 2 months without getting overwhelmed. So I'm really proud of that section of the ebook. And then the guide to wholesaling will show you how to approach different stores and shops for them to become your potential wholesale customers. We also talk about in the ebook how to pitch your brand via email and in person and over the phone to different businesses. And then we talk about how to actually price your products as well, which is very important if you're going down the wholesaling route. Number 7, how often should you post on social media? So again, personal choice, but as the algorithm changes frequently, it means you're not in control of how your content is received by your followers and non-followers. In this regard, you can control how often you post or do stories or do reels. So my recommendation is do what feels comfortable, post as often as feels right for you, but also push your comfort zone a little bit to ensure you're still growing personally and professionally. So you could post every day, you could do stories every day, or you could do it every second day, every third day, a couple of times a week. It really depends on how much time you can invest into the social media platforms and what feels right for you and your brand. And the last question I wanted to cover off today is, what apps can I use to improve efficiency in my business? So I'm a huge fan and advocate of scheduling tasks ahead of time and doing things in batches, and that includes the social media side. I don't know about you, but I don't have time to be on my phone all day posting to Instagram and Facebook and the other platforms, because there are other aspects of my business and life that require attention. So that said, it's so important to maintain a presence on socials. So what I like to do is to create my content in batches and prep for the week ahead on the weekend by using an app called Planoly. It's a visual planner for Instagram, allowing you to organize and schedule posts and stories ahead of time, which means you can plan your week or more or less worth of content in one go and then set and forget to allow you to focus on other tasks in your business. So I'll pop a link in the show notes if you want to have a look at Planoly. There's also Later. So there's the two that I know of that have the ability to schedule your posts and stories ahead of time. I personally prefer Planoly. I compared both for my business, and Planoly was the one that suited my business. So that's the one that I use. And as I said, I'll pop a link in the show notes below. So that's just a small snapshot of the types of questions I've been asked about making candles and building a candle business. If you enjoyed this episode and would like me to tackle more commonly asked questions about candles, let me know by sending me a DM on Instagram at Candle Business Coach, or even ask your questions via DM as well. I'd love to have an episode or two where I've filled it with all the questions that I've been asked to help you on your candle journey. That would be amazing. So if you do have any questions, please reach out. I'm always on Instagram, so you'll get a response. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, my friend. I hope that you are surrounded by family, friends, and loved ones at this special time of year. I know that when I'm recording this episode, it's 6 days till Christmas, but by the time you're listening to this, it'll be 5 days if you're listening to it when the episode launches. Otherwise, if you're listening to it after Christmas or even after New Year, I hope you had a wonderful break from work or school and got to enjoy some time with family and friends. Thanks everyone for listening today. I hope this episode added value to your candle making journey. Check out the show notes for all the links mentioned throughout today's show, and please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for listening. Have a beautiful day.